Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 494 of Screw the Commute podcast. We're here at part of Vetpreneur Month with Jared Ledbetter. He's the founder and owner of carbondigital.us, and he's a proud United States Marine Corps veteran, and he's worked supply and logistics for over 15 years during the Marine Corps and as a government contractor and as a federal employee, but he started his own business, and we're going to hear about that today. So, how'd you like me to send you big affiliate commissions? Well, if you're in my affiliate program, I can send you anywhere from $8.50 that you can blow at Starbucks to anywhere upwards of $5,000 for a speaking engagement. So, and everything in between. If you're interested in that, email me at tom@screwthecommute.com and we'll give you the details on that. Now, pick up a copy of our automation ebook. This ebook has allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. It's all the tips and tricks I use to automate my business so I can take care of customers faster. And just one of the tips in the book, we actually estimated it a couple years ago, saved me 7.5 million keystrokes. Just one of the tips in this book. So, and almost everything is super cheap or free. So it's just right in front of your face. I don't want you fighting with your computer when you should be selling stuff. All right, so pick that up at screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're at it, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. And you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. All right, in my school, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia, it's a distance learning school, so you don't have to be in Virginia, but we're doing a pilot program to help persons with physical disabilities get trained in a highly in-demand skill, which is internet and digital marketing. And then I'm going to get them legitimately hired in good jobs and or start their own business. And it's a pilot program because we're going to put 5 people through it. And then I'm going to prove the concept. And then I took a grant writing course. I'm going to go for big money to help loads and loads of people with disabilities. So that's what we're working on now. We'd love to have your help. We've got a GoFundMe campaign going. If you go to imtcva.org/disabilities, that's plural, then go to the top of the page, click on the GoFundMe campaign. You'll see some of the people in the program. 2 of them are blind. So if you want to get inspired or depressed, depending on how you look at it, these people are accomplishing things that I don't know how they're doing it, tell you the truth. They're just very inspiring. And any little bit you can kick in on the GoFundMe campaign is appreciated. We're going to use some of the money to hire persons with disabilities to help run the program. So check it out. All right, let's bring on the main event. Jared Ledbetter's here. He started out with WordPress after WooCommerce came on the scene, and he eventually migrated to Shopify. And back in the early days, there wasn't any easy web builder options for WordPress, like they are today. So he had to learn HTML, which I want nothing to do with. I know just a tiny little fraction once in a blue moon. I need to know something about it. But guys like him have minds like steel traps. And then he got hooked on the whole concept, and he went into search engine optimization and conversion rate optimization and web development, testing, and all kinds of stuff. So let's bring him on. Jared, are you ready to screw the
Let's
commute?
do this.
Yeah. All right, man. So how'd you come up with the name Carbon Digital?
Honestly, I was just looking for a way to sound awesome and brand it as an agency, right?
Yeah.
If you go through like technology, they use a lot of science or astronomical type of terms.
Mm-hmm.
So I just basically looked up an entire list of all words that fell under that bracket and was like, how do I make this work?
Well, yeah, it sounds cool. But what's funny is you have this cute caricature of yourself, which I have one too. I don't use it all the time, but it's really fun looking thing. Now, I got a critical, deep question to ask you.
Okay.
How has your forklift operator licensed skills helped you in web development?
You see, when you code on the actual steering wheel, no, not with that.
Yeah, so I saw that. Do you actually have to have a license to drive a forklift? Because you says you're licensed to drive a forklift.
Yeah, you actually have to have a license. Depending on the organization, sometimes the organization can certify you, and sometimes it has to be something more like OSHA level. But yeah, I've been certified by multiple organizations, including some from the DoD and some private sector as well.
I'll bet you there's a lot of little companies that just say, screw that. Just drive the thing and hurry up.
Yeah, you didn't hit nobody, you're good.
Yeah. And I also understand you speak Japanese.
I do, yeah. My wife's Japanese, and
Oh,
I spent 5 years over there, and so yeah, I'm not fluent. I'm more like an advanced tourist, right? Like I know where
okay.
the bathroom's at. I know how to order my food. I know how to navigate, the landscape and whatnot. But outside of that, you know, drinking talk is my forte, really.
Well, if she gets mad at you, does she cuss you out in Japanese or in
Oh
English?
yeah, no, there's Japanese happening in my house every day throughout the entire day. Yeah, and it's not just the cussing. Like my kids also speak Japanese too, so
Oh.
yeah, I'm not getting away from it. That's for sure.
Well, you got a colorful past there, man. And we always, as part of Vetrepreneur Month, thank you for your service. And we just couldn't be doing the things we could do. And I was supposed to um, do a interview with a veteran the day that those 13 people got killed in Afghanistan. And
Hmm.
both of us said, man, we just can't do it today. Just cannot get all upbeat and all happy and just yuck it
Yeah.
around on that day. So we postponed it. But yeah, that craziness going over there, I'll tell you. Um, so anyway, let's get back to your main expertise with Carbon Digital. So what would you say the biggest mistakes are that people make when they're thinking about getting into a website?
Cool. How much time do we have? Um, the single biggest mistake that people make is they make decisions based on money.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, hosting is $5 a month. I'll do that. Oh, this guy says he'll build my entire website from the ground up for $500. I'll do that. And so it's one of those things, there's a mantra that's pretty common, you get what you pay for. And in the entire, digital space in general and websites specifically, people don't know enough to be able to make good decisions.
Right.
They're like, that checks a box, let's roll out.
Yeah. So one of the things that I harp on all the time is that they have no idea what keywords or what they want the site to accomplish. They just want a
Oh,
site. The reason we don't get into web design, we only train because I just can't stand like you probably have to deal with. So somebody's in a hurry, and then 3 weeks later they haven't gotten you the content or something, and then they're
yeah,
mad. They're mad at you.
you were super eager to have this done in 48 hours, but I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks. What happened to that energy?
Yeah. Yeah. So now, besides that, uh, I saw a bunch of stuff on your site about accessibility. And do you actually do accessibility audits, or do you farm that out?
Yeah, we do those. The audit is just half the battle. The other half is actually getting the corrections made.
Right. And it's a kind of a moving target in some fashions with the requirements changing and stuff. So what's a range of prices that would cost to have the audit done, just so somebody to really look at it and say, these are the things that need fixed?
Yeah, so I mean, we have some automated tools that will run an audit for you, and we don't actually charge for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we're considering in the future, but we don't charge for them right now. And so if you want to get an audit, we've got a link on our website. It's pretty easy to get one set up. The thing that's going to be the problem child in all of that is actually fixing those problems, because there has to be a certain level of technical understanding just to be able to understand what the problem is.
Right.
And so if you don't have that, it's going to be hard to explain, what the problem is. Some things are simple, like, you know, this is white and it's on a black background. That's a good, percentage of contrast. You don't want to put like a light gray and a lighter gray
Right.
connected to place, because it's hard, it's barely readable. So some of them are kind of simple, stupid things like that. Some of them are highly technical, and some of them are kind of off the deep end. But collectively, they are what they are.
Well, yeah, and then I'm getting a real education in that myself because of that program for disabilities that I just mentioned. Because
Hmm.
in my mind, when I started the program, I thought, okay, these are for people that lost their leg, or they're on crutches, or their hands are messed up.
Yeah.
And the first two people that applied were blind. And I'm like, oh man, does that change things? Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so we're learning how to make our Word documents accessible, and then converting them to
Yeah.
PDF and making that accessible, and then the blind people were kind of giving me feedback because the learning platform that we're using claims to be accessible,
And
and
it's not.
she said, well, yeah, it's accessible, but your content isn't. so 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 boy, yeah, it's quite a thing, and it's big in the forefront nowadays. People are getting sued and stuff over this now.
Yeah.
People, good people that are trying to do a good job are still getting sued. There's some law firms that's kind of their business model, is to sue people. It's kind of like the image companies that find you use an image and then threaten a federal lawsuit against you for copyright infringement. So
Yeah, but I mean, some of those people are also asking to be sued.
well, yeah, if they're ignoring things that are obvious, and then I think the government requires you to be ADA compliant, which ADA isn't even the whole thing now. You got that WC, what is it? WC A2, is it called?
WCAG
AG2.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell everybody what that is and what that kind of means to you.
So the short version is that's the global standards for web accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's highly specific situations on there that go through when to do what. There's contrast checker tools, there's code checker tools, but basically this is the international global specification for accessibility. And then for the U.S. government, they got kind of lazy. They just said, yeah, follow what they said. So
Right.
that's kind of what they did, because why rewrite all of that if it's already there? But the thing that I was talking about earlier was where people are kind of asking to be sued is because they use an overlay widget on their website. Anytime I see that, that's a flag for me to go pitch my services,
Mm-hmm.
because overlay widgets are not
Right.
accessible.
Exactly. Right.
And a
Right.
lot of people don't know that. And it's a scary thing when I see other agencies promoting those as well.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean these are so exacting that very few websites in the world probably could just pass like instantly, and they could
Yeah.
pass, and then they throw up another piece of content and didn't
Yep.
clear it first, and now they're not compliant again. So it's
Yeah. SEO, conversion rate optimization, and accessibility run in the same bracket of every single change can affect a different outcome.
right.
So that's stuff that has to be constantly monitored to make sure that you're constantly getting the results that you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't see how little companies could possibly keep up with it. I mean, you could have a two or three people in big companies easily watching just for this stuff, I imagine. But little
Oh
companies, I
yeah.
don't know how they could afford it.
Um, it depends on what level of little you're going for, but yeah, it's near impossible for a small business making less than 10,000 a month to be able to, you know, have that check in the box saying I'm accessible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Is there some kind of like they have the Better Business Bureau logos? Is there some kind of logos that for the accessibility world to claim that you're, the trust certificates and BBB, Better Business Bureau certificates?
No, there's nothing that's globally recognized
Mm-hmm.
like that. There are some companies that produce, if we say that you're accessible at this date timestamp, we will certify that time. We will provide you a certificate at that time. There's companies that do that, but there's nothing that's a global or a
Right.
national standard.
Yeah, because 10 seconds later, it could be all down the tubes as soon as
That's right. You decide to go look at the website from a different browser, and it's a different result too. So
yeah, it's crazy.
there's 100,000 variables in all of this. So it's just a matter of chunking them out when you're able to, and
Yeah.
making sure that happens before you get sued, because once that happens, you're screwed no matter what.
Yeah, and I'm not complaining about it because when I compare it to what it must be like to be a blind person to try or with some other, disability to try to access the world, I say, I'll thank my lucky charms, because what they must go through. So what are some of the other outside the accessibility? What are some of the other things that drive you crazy with clients?
Cool. People thinking that they know more than I do is a big one.
Yeah, I've been
You
there.
know, I've been at this for a while. I believe it's 10,000 hours that it takes to become an expert, and I've pretty much exceeded that since I've hit 10 years of just doing websites and stuff. So I find it very, very interesting whenever people who clearly, it's obvious, you can really tell that they don't have the expertise that they're speaking on,
Right.
but they do still intend to dictate what type of psychological elements I'm putting into their design of their website, or why they decide to structure something some way. They always have an answer, and it's never a good one.
I kind of I got my hard lesson for that years and years ago because I'm a professional speaker, and so we all needed demo videos to show how we could speak, right? And so
Yeah.
I created all these different ones over many years, and not one of them ever got me hired to speak. I got hired from referrals and other things, but the videos never. So I ran into this guy that was retired from Hollywood, actually worked on Star Wars, had an Emmy nomination for his editing skills. And I said, you know what? I should do an experiment here. Just let him take all the video crap footage I have. Let him put it together. I'm not going to say a word. He did it. The first time it was seen, I got $100,000 contract with CBS as a spokesperson. That was my 2x4 to the head that said, hey, you're too close to it. You don't know what you're doing. Let somebody that really knows what they're doing take care of it, and you'll be much better off in the long run.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people have they're at a crossroads, because a lot of times, even though we're talking about hiring an expert to do that video editing, right? That normally comes with some sort of consideration, right? You got to pay them for the work,
Right.
and that's usually where people decide, I know what I'm doing. I can figure it out. I'm just gonna wing it. And so that's where a lot of bad decisions come out of from that. Not saying everyone is going to have and make bad decisions. That's how I started in websites. I'm like, you know what? I don't have money to hire somebody. I need a website for my business. I'm going to build it myself. The difference, though, is that I stuck with it. I enjoyed it, and I kept progressing.
Kept learning.
That's right. Yeah. I even today, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
never going to stop with this field.
That's correct. It's never ever going to stop. Google makes a change every year just to make sure that you have something new to learn.
Right,
So
right.
yeah,
So,
but
so
that's kind of where people draw the line is, they don't pursue it as a passion and a career. And, that's where a lot of bad decisions are born out of that.
yeah, and the people, what gets me is the people wanting to start an online business, which is what I've been helping people for 23 years to do. And they like you mentioned, oh, it's $5 for hosting. Oh, it's $130 a month for the shopping cart. Oh my God. And I'm thinking, you know what? Go talk to our friend Joel Stewart. I don't know if you know him from the tribe, and
Yep.
he's a franchise guy. And ask
Yep.
him how much it costs to start a McDonald's. It's anywhere from like $2 million to $4 million with $800,000 in cash or something like that. And somebody,
Yeah, stupid.
yeah, they want to get rich online, but no, I can't pay that shopping cart. I'm going to just use PayPal, So,
Yeah.
so now I see you have an interest in jiu-jitsu, and I really am interested in that because I had some run-ins with some really big name jiu-jitsu people because I have a website called Brutal Self-Defense based on the fact that I had a nightclub for 6 years in a really rough area, and I was in gunfights and knife fights and bikers trying to kill me, and so
Oh, okay. So a Tuesday.
yeah, exactly. Not since I've been selling online, not one person has hit me with a beer bottle. But so I got it in with these jujitsu guys. They're supposed to be teaching what's called combatives. This is real life stuff, not sport. And so,
Okay.
and I hear this guy telling this on video. No, I bought this video course from him because I said, I need to know more about this as a defensive thing to, if you run into a jujitsu guy. And so he's telling the jujitsu guy, oh yeah, you just lay here on top of him like this and tire him out. And I'm thinking, crazy? And while you're trying to tire me out, I just pulled my folder knife out of my right-hand pocket and disemboweled you. You're trying to tire me out. And in the meantime, my buddy's kicking your brains while you're laying there on the ground. So
yeah.
so I got my money back from that course.
They're not wrong. Like that's technically the way you want to do it, but in like a weapon-based fight, or there's more than one people, that's definitely not going to work.
Exactly. Yeah, he's gonna tire me out. Yeah, I'm tired of your blood getting all over my pants, man.
Yeah, but technically that is the way you would do it because you don't actually have to do any work. You
Exactly.
just have to keep your position over the person to make them expend all of their energy.
Exactly. If they don't have a knife that's going to disembowel you, and their friend is not going to kick your brains like you're doing.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's what my complaint was. Not that their techniques were bad, is that they're saying this is a combative. You should do this. No, you're going to get your ass killed if you do.
No, that sounds like the Army combatives, which is basically the same thing as Gracie Jiu-Jitsu's blue belt course.
I see.
Yeah, and it's not really. I wouldn't say it's. I mean, foundational wise, it's good, but you have to get past that foundation to really get into the good stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of stuff, but I mean, there's a big difference when there's no rules. So that's
exactly. Yeah, that's where I had a buddy who mixed jiu-jitsu with Krav Maga. Like that seems like a good, clash of skills to stay alive.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't have any. I started out in Shirin-ryu karate when I was in high school, where we were breaking bricks and walking barefoot in the dead of winter down in water and streams and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And then when I got my nightclub, I started studying Aikido and Aikujitsu because if you hit somebody, I'm going to be in court all the time. So I wanted to create maximum amounts of pain and control with no bruising. Right. So, so that, and then I had special forces guys working out with me, but the bikers, my stupidity was as a young guy taking over a biker bar and cleaning it up, deciding that I'm going to clean it up into a real nice family place. They
Yeah,
just
no
didn't
wonder you
like
had so
that
many.
that much. One time I kicked this guy so many times I broke my toenail, you know. So yeah, it was quite a deal there. But yeah, I like jujitsu, but everything has its place in real life or sport, So back to your business now. So how do you actually work with someone? Somebody comes with you, comes to you and says, "Hey, I need a website." What's the first thing you do? How do you lead them down the path to make these decisions?
Yeah, so I mean, in general, people come from a lot of different places, and I know people from throughout time for different levels of experience. So, um, depending on what that looks like, it's going to look a little differently. But overall, it's going to include us having a conversation about what you want, and it's going to include some type of questionnaire
Mm-hmm.
to really get down into the details. Because if I ask you what do you want, you're not necessarily going to have an answer. So being able to actually write that down and spend some time doing it is definitely a good thing. But then once that questionnaire is done, we'll follow up with a call to go over the results of what you've entered and make sure that there is 100% no disconnect between what you want and what I'm going to provide. And then once we're there, we'll apply a price. And if you agree to that price uh, during that call, then we'll send out a proposal for us to get started. If that price is too much or needs to be readjusted or restructured or whatnot, we can try to work some of that out. But we're not going to send out a proposal unless we actually have to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And what if uh, they really want something? How do you talk to them if they want things that are just ridiculous? Because you get that all the time.
then
Where it's like when
yeah,
somebody goes into the hair salon and takes a picture of Angelina Jolie, says, "I want my hair to look like this," and there's no way. What do you say to
yeah, I want my face to look like that.
them?
No, there are a lot of people who have unrealistic
Right.
expectations of reality. And so more than not, I have to I plan for 15-minute calls sometimes, but I end up taking an hour or more because I have to educate people to be able to understand how to hire me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that. It's a requirement.
Yeah. Exactly.
Expectations are unrealistic. People think left when it should be right. People think right when it should be left. Regardless of the situation, I have to educate people. And that's going to include, someone's like, "Hey, you know, I want to hire you for SEO." Like, "Oh, okay, well, that's a big bracket. Let's unpack that a little bit." You know, and then I'll get stories of, well, I hired this one guy or I hired this one girl. Oh, okay, well, that's irrelevant for me. But the point of that story is that they got screwed over, or
Mm-hmm.
that person didn't manage their expectations as well as they should have, or they didn't educate them on the topic, so
Or
they
they
had no
sucked. Or
idea,
they sucked.
or they sucked.
Yeah.
Yes, that has to be a possibility. But yeah, there's so many variables and situations, and it always comes down to education.
Now, is there
That
something
just
in your agreements that has requirements for them to get you content?
most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. We can create content, but we charge extra for
Of
that.
course. Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of people, like I was said earlier, yeah, they're in a hurry. And then 3 weeks later, they haven't gotten you the content.
Yeah, so it's actually been easier to just bring on a copywriter,
Mm-hmm.
to bring people who write into the project and just make that part of the project standard process. That's made everything so much easier, because before I would put in just dummy text like, "Hey, I made you a kick-ass website with dummy text." Like, you're gonna have to write that stuff out. And people I've had people not use an entire website because they didn't want to go write up the website.
Like you're supposed to like just extract it from their head what's supposed to be.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, our services are, we work with money, and we
Yeah,
work with people. Well,
exactly.
okay,
Exactly why I don't want to be a web designer. Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah, and
Because
yeah,
you couldn't pay me enough, so you earn your fees just for the frustration. Because probably you can put together a high quality website pretty quick. It's just that all the other stuff that's involved.
yeah. There's a lot of things that have to be integrated. There's a lot of client expectations that have to be managed. There's a lot of content and back and forth that has to happen. So I've tried to re-engineer the process so that people are more engaged. And since we've rebuilt the process, it's been a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
We've had less issues, well, significantly less issues since the last rebuild that we did, which was about 4 months ago. So that's definitely been a good thing.
Yeah, you got to teach people how to work with you. That's for sure. So tell people how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. So all of our social media handles are Carbon Digital US. You can reach us by email at hello@carbondigital.us. If you want to call, our numbers on our website, carbondigital.us. You can check out the Contact Us page and submit a form there. Pretty much anything goes in that realm.
Perfect. So everybody will have all that stuff in the show notes for you, so you can check out Jared. We always support our veterans, and especially ones that do things correctly. So
thank you, sir.
All right. So thanks a lot for coming on, man.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
All right. We'll catch you later.